Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. I want to thank our sponsors, the Health Channel, and please sign up for the Health Channel's newsletter to stay up to date with the latest trends and news and a lot more. And we welcome our new sponsor, Finkelman's, where you can pamper yourself with tools for your inner chef and more at finkelman.com. And I remember against genocide bracelets. So I want to thank our guest today, Lucia Baez-Geller. Thank you so much for being with us today, especially on the first day of school.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. So excited to chat with everybody, for the community to know everything that's going on in our schools and why we're so excited for a great new year.
So I know school starts today. I know that you've been extremely busy during the summer planning for today. And I wanted everybody to know. So I'm going to drill you with a lot of questions.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, what are some of the changes that you're implementing in the first 6 months? Like new
Well,
things.
amazing, a great energy. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that we're coming off a great school year last year. Believe it or not, we were an A-rated district. We are an A-rated district, one of only 14 in the state. Out of 67 counties, only 14 are A's, and we are one of them. Our students have shown resilience beyond measure, and we thank all the teachers and families that made that happen. So incredible gains by all of our students. So we're really starting at a great place. And so for this year, we just want to make sure that our students continue to thrive and that they are in healthy and motivating and challenging learning environments that are going to get them to where they need to be. So to do that, first of all, we continue to support our teachers because they're in the front line. So we want to make sure that they have all the resources that they need to be ready instructionally, but also emotionally, and that they feel that they are supported. So a lot has gone into working with teachers and throughout the summer. So specifically, we had a lot of trainings for our teachers, uh, training them on everything: mental health first aid, promoting resilient learners, crisis emergency training, and a lot of about mental health specifically. Because one of the new things this year with our new superintendent is that our academics are not separate from mental health. So that was a big push this summer that we did, which is new. Also, we're including a lot of entrepreneurial classes into our curriculum throughout the district. So a lot of career and technical education, which really needed to be updated. So we're doing that, adding more internships, more apprenticeships to our curriculum. So we're very excited about that. But mostly just preparing our students, preparing the environments so that we can continue accelerating our students, thriving, and just having our schools be a place where our students can feel safe and welcome.
That sounds amazing. Now, with the top questions.
Tell me.
Security.
Yes.
Security and safety of the schools and the staff. Like, I
Yes.
know that there is one view from Florida government and there's a very different view from the school board. And so, which way will you guys follow? Will you follow the experts? Will you follow the science? Or will you follow government mandates?
All of them, all of the above. So essentially, for safety and security, the law of the land is the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas law that came out after the unfortunate Parkland tragedy. And so we work with that. And within that, we continue to build our school police force, which is right now we have one school resource officer per school, but we continue to build them to make sure that these officers they're not just a staple that we bring into the school, that there's someone that's in the community, that has the personal relationships, that knows how to speak to the students, that knows how to build that trust. So that's part of it. Because of the law, we have a school officer in every school, but because of Dade County Public Schools, we train them to work hand in hand with the school community, with parents, and that's something very special that we do and we take very seriously. In addition, over the summer, our chief of police did 4 crisis drills. So they go through all the different drills and they're almost like staged, like acts. And they train not only our force, but they work throughout the entire county to work with all different police forces so that if we do need assistance, for example, the city of Aventura police force or the city of Miami Beach police force and etc. throughout the whole county, that they're ready to step in as well. That was a huge endeavor and we're always there. But at the end of the day, we have to do what's right and best for our students. And I believe that the actions that we take for security are completely in line with best practices at the state and local level, because we work beyond just policing into actually promoting relationships and having useful conversations. And remember, as a teacher, I have to tell you that those conversations and those personal connections are the number one way to avoid tragedies. I know just in my time, 15 years as an educator, many times a student speaking up to an adult because they felt comfortable speaking up to an adult, that's why many tragedies were avoided in our school that I lived firsthand. And so that's important, and we need to continue that and have proactive measures and ways that we are opening up the doors, and also that we are ensuring that the security measures that we do have are implemented correctly. And that takes training and everything.
Yeah. But you're not arming the teachers.
No, not for now. I don't, hopefully never.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully never. And we believe that in that case, then yes, we would have to make some very hard decisions, but we always want to get input, make professional decisions, surround ourselves by people who are experts and make informed decisions. And I believe that for the data shows on my personal behalf, not speaking for the district, the data shows that that would not be a good idea. So I think we're going to continue on that path.
I'm glad that yeah, I know. Me neither, because I wouldn't be comfortable with arming teachers.
No.
But how much influence will the parents have in the decision making?
In terms of what, safety or?
In terms of safety, in terms of curriculum, because now there's a whole fight about, yes. And that's my next question.
Yeah, so
about the CRT being part of the curriculum and some parents fighting.
Well, it's not. Let me just stop you there.
Okay. Yeah.
Parents are always, we encourage it. We've always wanted parent participation. And without going too deep into it, a lot of these conversations about parent involvement, a lot of the parent involvement has always been there. The policies about parent involvement, the policies about parents reviewing curriculum, the policies of parents being able to opt out of curriculum after they renew it, that's always been there. They've always been a part of the process. I'm very grateful that there's now a greater attention on parent process and participation. That's great. We've always wanted more parent involvement. But a lot of the rights that they've had for years and decades. And there's a renewed interest in parent participation in our schools. We're grateful for it. We welcome it. Now, in terms of those kind of niche topics that kind of have been very controversial, that have, gotten people like me on the news, which crazy, right? Like, I'm just a teacher that loves kids. But a lot of those niche topics, such as CRT, such as our reproductive health books that we saw here in Miami, it's been a lot. And the only problem has been is that a lot of these conversations are not based on fact. So for example, we don't teach sex education. We don't teach CRT. It's just not there. We don't teach gender ideology in our schools. We just don't. There's nothing more we could say. But for some reason, these issues have been politicized and appropriated. And to be honest, it's unfair. This is a nonpartisan seat to be a school board member, and we should not be politicizing issues surrounding education, because there's no room for that. Because it's already hard enough as it is to work for our students, for our families. We don't need politicians coming in and trying to start problems where there are none, you know?
I agree 100%. So why were some books banned? Like, I looked at some books and I couldn't even find anything. And
Well,
some
I'm not sure.
parents,
No, we don't have any book banning here at all. Oh, you're talking about the reproductive health
not only the
or general?
reproductive health and talking about critical race theory.
Well, we don't have those books. Again, they're not there. We don't have gender ideology. We don't have critical race theory. That you'll never find them. They don't exist in our libraries. But again, with the parental review laws, which again, we're very happy that there are laws that are encouraging parents to take more interest in what their students are learning. That's great. And what our parents will find, because now, for example, you have to have all of the books in the media center, you have to have them online available. And then as you saw, there's the textbook review every year. If parents want to get involved, they should absolutely follow school board news so that they can get involved with that, etc. So a lot of these things are happening, which really open up the doors of our school to parents. And that's exciting. We want to open up our schools and our classrooms to parents. What we don't want is groups that have non-factual information to be informing those parents. So if these groups, outside fringe groups, are saying they're teaching your kids about sex, sure, parents are going to come to the school board and exercise their right. But at the same time, it needs to be fact-based things. And the other thing is that as much as some parents have a right, the other parents have a right as well. And so we need to come together, because it's not just one voice that we can listen to. If there's a problem, we need to listen to all voices, and we can't just make decisions based on one side. And that's the bottom line.
No,
And
I
so
agree with
yeah.
you, but regarding sex education, I remember when I was little that we had sex education. It was like the basics, like this is your body, this is science. And also we need to protect our kids and tell them what's right and what's wrong.
And that's the issue. And again, just so you know, for our Florida, state of Florida, it's not called sex education, it's called reproductive health and diseases. And we
Okay.
just want to say that because, you know, we don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, for Florida, it's reproductive health, but you're absolutely right. And so as much as parents have the right to opt out, which they've always had, of these lessons, which happen, they're one unit in biology or one unit
And
in
it's
PE.
biology, it's
Right. And that's it. And they're going to have the chance to opt out as they always had. But again, because we're opening up our schools to more parent involvement, these are some little kinks that need to be flushed out. But at the end of the day, as long as we are listening to all voices and incorporating multiple people into our decision making, then that is fine. But we cannot buckle to pressure. We cannot let people politicize what's happening in our schools. And we have to just become informed, and we have to be willing to work together with people from all backgrounds. It can't just be one group that is dictating what we do, because reproductive health is a Florida state standard. If we don't teach it, we're out of compliance.
correct.
And so we need to teach it. Now, if you want to review, you can, but we need to teach what we have to teach. And nobody is teaching any of those things unless they are in the Florida statutes of curriculum. That is what's being taught, I promise you. Nobody is teaching all those things that they're being accused of.
I am so glad that you're telling me all this. So moving on, bullying. Bullying is on the rise.
Yeah.
Hate is on the rise.
Yes. Yes.
What are the schools doing about it? What
Yeah.
are the consequences?
Yeah. We've seen a lot of behavioral consequences, maybe some due to the pandemic, maybe some. But bullying is something that has definitely come back in a way, unfortunately. But it's, first of all, as a public school system, we recognize that. And we know that it's a threat on students' emotional, social well being, physical well being. Sometimes bullying could be physically crippling to a child. And so it could also be, it comes in many forms. It could be verbal, a verbal attack. It could be cyberbullying. Um, it could be a physical attack. So there's a lot. But right now, I think the main platform would be online, and it's just so important that our parents, that they have a hold of what's happening in their students, their child's social media per se, or in their texts, or is someone sending them, nasty texts. And it's really important. It's more and more common. And it's important to separate between what's just child's play versus a direct attack on a person for any sort of identity. So the problem is also, aside from having so many different platforms where bullying can happen, verbal, online, the text, the other problem is that a lot of students that are being bullied, they might experience shame. And it might be very hard for a child to come forward and tell their parent or tell an adult that they're struggling.
I think the teacher will know before a parent will know.
Yes, they absolutely would know. And so, hopefully there's an adult that can intervene. But if a child is suffering in silence, it's very scary, and it's a very lonely place. And so that's why it's important that anti-bullying messaging comes in all forms, because, and even the word bullying, it needs to be unpacked, because maybe I don't even know that I'm bullying somebody, right? Maybe I don't even know. And so it's important that these resources, and that we have these avenues for adolescents to speak up, and also to have access, and to be able to be comfortable reporting, I think is the most important part that we could do.
But will there be actual consequences?
Oh, absolutely. We take it very, very serious, but this is what I'm telling you. The reporting process is the most important.
But the problem is that they don't want to report it because they will get bullied
Or
even
bullying.
more. So it's like a cycle.
Right. And so we definitely have to continue, like I said, training. And that's why I mentioned at the beginning, all the different trainings, resiliency, trauma, mental health, first aid. We're really training our teachers and expanding the knowledge of our teachers in this area of mental health, of bullying, of being able to support students emotionally. That's something that we're really investing in all ways, because they're no longer separate. And with this new superintendent, he knows that they go hand in hand. And this is one of his biggest priorities, is making teachers trained to identify these instances of help. So
I am very glad to hear that. Are you okay? And this is on a personal basis, because I know that you have like all the rules that you need to follow and all the protocols and everything. But on a personal basis, would you keep the standardized testing or would you change the whole system?
well, as you said, as a district, of course, we follow all the protocols of the Department of Education to ensure our students are graduation ready. But I have to tell you something, the testing, although it's very important, it does not, in my opinion, give a full picture of a student's potential. So the first problem with testing is the way that we use it, what we call in the business punitively, as a punishment. We don't use testing as a motivator, it's a punishment. If you didn't test well, now you have to take extra reading or extra math, or now
Right.
you have to stay after school and study more.
And if you're not a good test taker.
Right, right. What do? Then you're basically punished your whole life.
Correct.
Right.
So would you
Because
consider
yeah, they
like taking it
remediate
out?
when a child doesn't test well, they remediate the student. And so what that really adds on to is more of the
More
thing you're not that
stress.
great at, you know,
Yeah.
which is not great. It's not great. I mean, if you could, I mean, it's good to practice, of course. But in a way, we need to then know what are the child's strengths beyond testing. And beyond that, what are their interests? What are their strengths? How do we get them motivated? Is there an incentive we could use? Maybe if they're not strong at reading, maybe they can get on a reading plan. And then maybe they're not good at test taking, but maybe they're very good at retelling. Maybe they have a great memory. Maybe they like to act out the scenes from a play. There's so many ways to remediate reading and math, that so many options that could be positive and engaging versus punish, punish, punish. And the problem is that our students after third grade, if they're not prepared to pass like the third grade reading, the statistics for every year of their education get worse and worse. So their probability of success, if they are not active, fully engaged readers by third grade, is it's correlated. So we know our kids need to be reading by third grade. They don't need to be good test takers. They don't need to be
No, they need
whatever.
to
We
be
want to
smart
follow the
and
law. We're
comprehend.
going to follow the law, but we cannot base our curriculum and instruction and what we choose to do based on just testing results. I think they're important. They tell a story, but they don't tell the full story. And we certainly need to ensure that every student is just progressing and that they're showing that they have opportunities for critical thinking, that they have opportunities to be problem solvers.
And you read
And
my
that's what we
mind.
want to do.
That was my next question. Like, would you consider changing the curriculum to putting more critical thinking, problem solving, and stress management? Well, that is part of the mental health and the wellness that you talked about, but more of the less test taking and more of opening the personality of the kids.
Absolutely. I mean, this is so important, and we have maybe moved away from that. But a lot of what our students learn in school, I should say, it goes beyond academics. They learn how to navigate in the world. They learn how the world sees them and how they want to be treated. They learn about their peers. They learn about each other. They learn about themselves. There's so many things that you could learn in a school that are not instructional or academic. And in the same way, there's so many different ways to learn. And so we can't keep focusing on just one way. And the most important ways that I've seen myself personally is to ensure that every student has one thing that they love about school. It could be their art class, their music class. Maybe they love PE. I had one student one year, a young man who was very skinny, and he loved PE so he could go do weights. He loved it. So, you have to find where a student's interest lies and build upon that. Give them a reason to look forward to coming to school. So,
You
first of all,
were a teacher, so you could concentrate on this kid that loved PE. And like you said, you build on that. But when there is a square that says you need to do this and then every kid needs to fit in that square, that doesn't work.
it does not work. And let me tell you, I will say this, as much as the testing is prominent, I do know that our teachers are amazing. And so that's what I always know. I always fall back on that, which is I know our students are okay because our teachers are amazing. They're what you call teachers by vocation. Believe you me,
Yes.
very few teachers go through what we go through, what I used to go through, because it's a job. No,
Oh.
it's because it's a calling
Because
and you love it. Yeah, and you love it. So I think at the core of all of our amazing teachers, they want to do what we're talking about and have the hands-on learning and acknowledge all the individual likes of each child, and they do it, and they do it well. And the other thing that we've done, so first of all, I believe in teachers, but the other thing that we've done is really have a lot of broad partnerships as a school district. And I will say that. I mean, between partnerships with museums, we have museum magnets, ballet schools, universities, private companies, so many different broad partnerships. I know that we've been able to build on giving opportunities to our students. This summer alone, over 2,000 students were placed in a summer job, not even internship, a job through the Children's Trust, where they were paid a stipend and they were able to get real world opportunities. So all that to say, between the teachers in the district, we are opening up opportunities to have hands-on experiences where children can understand what their likes and dislikes are, right? And what they want to do. There are many different circumstances where that happens. In terms of the box, I mean, obviously we need curriculum. We need to have standards. We need to know. But with that, we also need to know that our students they all think and learn differently. They're all individual. And we need to include a lot of different strategies within each class to engage different parts of the brain. And I know, again, like I said, I know that our teachers are doing their best to do that. And I know that our school system is doing its best to provide other opportunities outside of the classroom. So hopefully with that, we'll be able to differentiate for all the different types of needs, and that every student can go to school and look forward to it and feel seen and heard and motivated. That's the dream. I think we're getting closer to it. I think we're getting closer to it because there's just so many options at this point in our school system, you know? If
So
you're
hopefully it can turn more into that and less testing eventually.
Yes. Unfortunately, a lot of that is determined by the state. And we cannot control what they vote on, what they want us to do. But hopefully they are listening to their public. I know there's a lot of former educators in the legislature, and hopefully they hear us when we go and we lobby and we show them our district priorities. Hopefully they're listening, and we hope that we can continue working with them in some ways so that they can understand the day-to-day needs and really just have a greater understanding. Now, they attempted that last year with the legislation that says instead of one test at the end, many tests leading up to the end. But all that really did was just add more tests because they still have the final test. It's still going to count against the kids and against the school. And now they just added 2 more. So it's really horrible. I'm not really sure why, but I don't know if you remember, it was maybe a year ago. It was like DeSantis takes out all testing. And it just wasn't true. They added more tests. So again, it's this idea that
But it's still politicized.
exactly, it's just right. And so with that, and on a positive note, I will say, look, here in Miami-Dade, we have amazing educators, amazing families, a great district staff, and a school board that is willing to protect all of our students. And that recognizes that right now we're in a hard climate. We're still dealing with the pandemic. We're dealing with a lot of divisiveness in our country, and it's seeping into everything. And that's really why it's important to work hand in hand with our community, to be on the ground, to be, searching for the needs of every school. And that's why we're here, the school board. Each of us speaks with our constituents. We're in our schools, we're with the parents, we're listening to principals, and that's why that's our work. And we continue to do our work. All these things happen around us, but we continue to do our work and we continue to prioritize our students and their well-being. And that's the best practice that I could tell you that we're doing. And I hope that it continues. We do have an election in a few days, about like 8 more days, I believe.
But
right
you're
now.
not running for
I'm
re-election.
not, no, but we
Right.
do have 4 seats that are up this year. Our board could look different. And so we just expect to see a continuance of whatever happens, of supporting our students, supporting our teachers, and ensuring that we are constantly improving. Our children are the number one priority. And that's why we do what we do. And I'm just hoping that our legacy and everything that the people that came before me have done, fighting to protect our students, fighting to protect rights, that we continue to move forward and not backward. Well, it's yet to be seen. It's not over yet.
But you know what? You just said it. Our dream is on the way.
Yes.
So, Lucia, with that, I really want to thank you. I
Thank
wish
you.
that the rest of the day goes as smoothly as it started.
Yes.
And hopefully we can get the dream that you said on the way.
Yes,
So
I think
thank
so.
you. And to everyone, thank you for being with us. Until next week, and above all, stay safe. Have a great day.